Okay, so for today, we've got one camera and we've got a second camera. Because in this video, I'm gonna show you how Etsy actually works. Literally, I'm literally showing you here using the customer profile ring algorithm on my blackboard. Because I see so much misinformation out there on how to get traffic on Etsy. And understanding how the algorithm chooses which products to push and which ones to ignore is the real key to actually making money on this website. So let's get started by discussing how the customer profile ring algorithm on Etsy works. So this graph here represents all of Etsy's customers, which currently are about 96 million people. I got this graph from a video from Channel Makers, which used it to showcase the YouTube algorithm. I'll link to that video in the description, but while watching it, I realized that this graph can be applied to many different websites' viral algorithms, including Etsy's. Well, within this big customer base, you've got different niche groups of customers that like to buy different types of niche items. So for example, this group of niche customers here likes to buy dog products, but there are different segments such as customers that like to buy floral products or mental health awareness products. You can also see that this ring has multiple layers to it. Well, that is because the further in you go, the more niche the customer base gets. So take this dog mug here. It's about a specific dog breed, sausage dogs. And by the way, I quickly designed and created all within Canva. Well, unless you have a sausage dog, you're probably not going to want to buy this mug. So on the customer profile ring, it would sit further in the ring of dog products because it appeals to a specific niche within this group of people. Whereas if you go to Etsy, you will see that a very popular type of dog mug is a custom dog mug. You send in a photo of your dog and it is custom painted onto the mug. Well, a product like that is very broad because it appeals to pretty much all dog owners. So on the customer profile ring, it sits in the broader outer ring because of the fact that it appeals to the entire group of dog owners. And this area is of course much bigger than the niche area here. Okay, so now that we know how this ring works, let's now discuss how Etsy uses this ring to make new products go viral. And the way that they do that is by boosting new products. So to explain how, I have zoomed in on the dog niche from the customer ring. And within this niche section, there are lots of other sub-niches. So, for example, some customers in here like to buy dog t-shirts, some customers in here like to buy dog mugs, and some customers in here like to buy posters. Well, with that in mind, let's say that you had made a generic dog dad print-on-demand mug and you'd released it on Etsy. When Etsy sees this, they go, let's test this mug on a small group of customers. Because here's the thing about Etsy. They like making money, and if they keep only showcasing the same products over and over again, their customers will get bored and they'll stop buying, and then they'll make less money. Etsy wants new products to succeed because when they do, Etsy earns more money, which is why the algorithm has a new product boost built into it. Because you see, what a lot of people don't know is that if you and I do a search for the exact same phrase, we will get very different results. And the products we each get shown on our discovery pages, like the home pages and the Etsy app, are drastically different. And that's because Etsy customizes your personal product experience based upon your previous buying history and viewing history on their website. So what they will do is they will now choose some customers to showcase your mug to on their search results and on their discovery pages like their home page. They are effectively testing your new product on them. That's why I like to call these test impressions. Etsy is testing to see what will happen when your product is given these impressions. So to test it, Etsy must now place it somewhere on this graph. Now, if we think about it, it's not super niche because it doesn't appeal to just one specific type of dog breed, yet it's not super broad because of the fact that it appeals to one gender since it's about dog dads. So it's probably sitting somewhere here in the middle. So then, now that Etsy has determined how broad your item is, it's now going to try and guess what group of customers within this section of the ring would find your product relevant to them that they should therefore test it on. And to do that, they're going to look at the information on your Etsy listing and store. So for example, if you have the word dad in your item listing title, that gives them some clues. The algorithm might think, well, we can show this to male customers that are interested in dogs as they're likely dog dads. But that's not all, because there are adjacent customers that might also be interested in this product. After all, this mug could make a great gift. So another potential customer could be a wife who has a husband who also has a dog. Etsy will also consider other factors as well, such as the age of your store to match your product up with. So if your store has no reviews and it's brand new, the algorithm is more likely to favor customers who have previously bought from brand new stores. And they'll look at other aspects of your store too, such as your branding and your store profile. So if you present your brand as being a stay-at-home mother who has created a business as a form of artistic expression, Etsy will try and prioritize customers who have previously bought from stores like that. And so, with all of this information that Etsy's gathered, it has decided that this group of customers here would be great to test your product with. They will boost that product to those customers, placing it on their search results and their discovery pages artificially to test what happens when they give those customers impressions of your product. Now, if your mug passes the test, Etsy will continue to push your product and promote it for free. However, if your mug fails the test, it will fizzle. So the question is, through testing, how does Etsy choose which products to make go viral? Well, the answer is simple. Etsy wants to see that people click on your listing, or even better, actually buy it. If this group of customers here that Etsy decided to test your product with doesn't engage with it, it will fizzle. But if people do engage with it, then Etsy will keep promoting it for free. Etsy will now expand your test audience out and broaden the group of people that it tries your product with. And if those people click on it or even buy it, it will get tested further. Etsy's algorithm might come and expand your testing group even bigger. And then it might even try new adjacent customers. And so now it might expand the testing group and start testing it with an adjacent group of customers that is also interested in dog t-shirts. And if this fails, Etsy will pull it back and just keep promoting it to the people that they know it's converting with. However, if it does well, Etsy might come on in here and expand this testing group further and even start testing other groups adjacent to that. And so understanding this is key to knowing how to fast track your success as a new seller. But before we explain why, we've just got a quick word from today's sponsor, me. Yes, due to shady YouTube sponsors, I am sponsoring my own videos currently, and I'm sponsoring it today to let you know that if you would like to learn how I create viral print-on-demand products that the Etsy algorithm loves, you should be sure to download a copy of my free ebook, The 6 Steps That Six-Figure Online Stores Follow to Make Over $10,000 a Month. You'll find a link to download my ebook for free in the video description. And you'll also find a link in my description to my course, the Ecom Clubhouse, which shows how I research, design, and create products to then sell for a profit using print on demand. If you'd like to build an Etsy store alongside me, check out my course to see if it's right for you. But for now, back to the video. And let's now discuss how new stores can fast track their first 100 sales by niching down. And the reason why is because, well, Etsy's algorithm is just a robot. It's not perfect at identifying the right customers. When you release a new product and it gives it a boost, it tries to put your product in front of the right customer, but it's certainly not perfect. So for example, let's take our generic dog dad mug again. Well, the broader your item, the bigger the group of people that it has to try to choose between when testing your product. So within this group here, there could have been multiple potential audiences, and Etsy went, you know what, we'll test it with this one here, but this one didn't work and it fizzled. Because your product failed that test, Etsy is going to stop pushing out your product. However, that doesn't mean that your product didn't have potential. Annoyingly, in this example here, there were other potential testing groups for it. If Etsy had chosen to test it over here, then this would have been a success. It would have gathered data and it could have then expanded it out. So your item fizzling and you not getting engagement with it doesn't always mean that it was bad. Sometimes you just get unlucky, which is why it can sometimes be easier to make your own luck. So let's say that you had made this mug instead. Well, it's a lot more specific and niche. So It's going to be in this section here, and because of the fact that there's less potential people to have to choose between, and because it's more specific, it's a lot easier for Etsy to choose a test group and to get that right, and to then be able to expand out. You need a lot less luck. Of course, as you get a broader audience, you also get a bigger customer base to pull from. So, you know, there are pros and cons. Although, one big pro of niching down is it makes it easier to have repeated success in having products pop off in the algorithm. So the products in this store here, for example, are in a similar niche and they have a similar aesthetic. So because Etsy has built a customer profile around this on who likes to buy items like these, Etsy now has a lot of really good data to test the products on that the store releases, improving their chances of success. And something else that I recommend that you do if you want to improve the chances of success for new products is to focus on quality, not quantity. And it's because of this. As you can see, products are often tested on discovery pages like the homepage. And here on the homepage, nobody can see how many reviews your store has, which means then that you have just as much of a chance of getting people to click on your products as a new store than as an established store. There's no bias against you. The only thing that matters in that moment is your product design and your product photo. And so, if your product design looks bad or it looks just like the other products that are listed here, then what is going to entice someone to click on your photo, which will get you the engagement that you need with the algorithm? That's why I often find that people that focus on a go-wide strategy of putting up hundreds of products on Etsy usually don't succeed. Because usually, if they've created hundreds of products, especially if they've tried to create them quickly, then they've probably had to copy other people's products, often poorly. And so their products are not going to stand out visually on pages like this. And because of that, nobody clicks on them, and their products flop and fail. Instead, it is much better, in my opinion, to spend more time researching and designing a smaller number of products that visually stand out and look cool and unique. That way you can take full advantage of the test impressions that you were given for your new product boost to get the potential customers that see it to go, wow, that looks really cool. I want to click on it and check it out. So then, did my video show you something new? If so, please subscribe, and to learn more about how I design high converting print-on-demand products that I then sell using Canva, be sure to check out my video here on screen. I'll see you in the next video.